And we are live. What's good? What's good, everybody? It's J Knock coming back at you with the boxing wish list with the one and only Poe. What's good, Poe?
How's it going, everybody? How's it going, Jenna?
It's good, man. It's good. Um, Man, we're a little late. We're a little late. I had to take care of some things, but what's going on with you, man? Like, what? Any important things going on? Anything you want to touch on before we get into it? I have.
No,
Go ahead.
yeah, I was just reaching out to people, trying to make new contacts, have better ideas of different aspects of things.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't been doing much. I've been doing some other things, personal things, trying to get some stuff together. I haven't even been keeping up with the boxing like since the last fights. I like actually it's been about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, since I haven't like got into boxing news or anything. So I'm a little bit behind. I know isn't what do you call it coming up this weekend? The
Yes,
Spence and what's his name? Uh,
Porter,
Porter. Yeah,
Porter.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, and it has a pretty decent card too. It has Darrell, he's fighting Benavidez, and you got Robert the Ghost Guerrero. He's still fighting. Why I don't know.
yeah.
There's a
What's up?
couple of good
What?
fights.
I thought he was done. I thought didn't he fight retire in his last fight?
He
Didn't he get?
retired like 2 or 3 fights ago.
Yeah, didn't he get? Okay, hold up. His last fight, he didn't he get beat? His last fight on PBC.
No, I don't think so.
There
I
was a
gotta do
fight
my.
where he got beat pretty bad. Like I don't think he did he get stopped. I can't remember. I know he was taken and beaten. Um and matter of fact, but I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm gonna have to look that up on a boxing rec because I remember him getting uh I remember him getting beat pretty bad.
Let me see. It was a split decision.
It was a split decision. Um
Yeah, you talking about when he fought Omar Ferguero? That was like 3 fights ago. He got beat
um
by TKO.
yeah, I think that might have been it. I think that might have been the fight.
Yeah, he snuck in there and had like 3 fights since then.
Yeah, you know what? That was the fight. And I think he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm done, guys." And wow, I didn't even know he had those fights. We had the two fights.
Yes.
Adam Mate and Heavenson Herrera.
Yeah, and then Gerald Thomas is a
Well, that
split decision.
oh, hold up. What hold on, what that doesn't make any sense. Am I looking at the date wrong?
What, 9/19?
That's the this coming up weekend.
Oh, it sure is that. What the heck going on? Yeah, they messed up right there.
Yeah, that's coming up this weekend.
Yeah, because he supposed to be fighting. Let me see what's this guy name. Cause I try to can't find it. But yeah, he that's no. I don't think that's who he's fighting. I don't know. That thing they just messed up the dates. I think he had 2 to 3 fights since he been back. That's bad on that's my fault not doing my research before I come on. and I always get on people about that.
Let me see. I'm pulling up the fight card right now. Uh, Let me see. Um, let me see. Fight card. So we got Spence. Okay. So we got Andre Dirrell, David Benavidez. He's one of the Benavidez brothers, right?
Yes,
Okay. And we got Mario Barros and Batra. I will murder that guy's name. I'm sorry. I apologize. Um, John Molina Jr., Josecito Lopez. Nah, that he's fighting that guy that they have on Boxing Ring. Maybe the what he called the S being scheduled.
oh, I never saw it like that. They cause boxing race they've been doing a lot of changing on the thing. I thought it was split decision.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
the S means scheduled. Um, and then let me see who else do we got on that. Let's see Robert Guerrero, Gerald Thomas. We got Amand Rashad. I'm not familiar with these guys. Alfonso Oliveira, uh, Marcel Rodriguez, Brandon Maddox. I'm not familiar with these guys right here. Um, Fernando Garcia, Juan Antonio Lopez. Yeah, I'm not familiar with with the rest of the undercard. But looks like a solid card nonetheless. I mean, you have that. I think that's the bottom of the where they start the televised part. The Robert Garcia Guerrero. I'm sorry, Robert Guerrero fight, and then that'll be the start of the I think the actual televised card part.
yeah, I think so too.
And we got Anthony Durrell. When's the last time Anthony Durrell fought? Because it's been a minute, hasn't it?
No, I think he fought I mean, what, a couple of months ago? Cause it was a fight that could have went either way. He had got cut. Yeah, it was one of them fights that's a kind of a toss up. It could have went the other way.
Advid and Advid you're married. I can't. It's he won that one, and he got the WBC super middleweight title out of that. Uh,
I
that was
think his brother retired.
that was in February.
Yeah, February fought.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It was a dangerous fight he about to fight with David Benavidez.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's for the WBC. So that's gonna be a super middleweight title. Um, I like the Durrell brothers, man. I've always liked they um got a bad rap, I think, and they just got like I remember the fight
Arthur
Andre
Abraham.
Andre fought um oh man, what was his name? It was part of the Super Six. The
Yeah, Andre Abraham. Arthur Abraham.
nah the Froch Carl Froch fight.
Oh, that was called Frog he fought?
Well
Yeah.
Carl Froch, I think he won. I think he won that Carl Froch fight. Me personally, the way I was scoring it,
Uh,
I think he was putting it to him. But they was fighting in Nottingham, I believe, and that's Carl Froch's hometown. And so he ended up losing that one. And then you're talking about the that one fight where he got hit late, and that was the
yeah,
Arthur Abraham fight.
yeah, and then he fell down,
Yeah,
and everybody's trying to say that he was faking.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that Super Six was a good thing for boxing.
Yeah, I think they should do a lot more of that, man. I really do.
Me too. Them tournaments they really make a lot of people look forward to certain boxers. It's like a
Hmm.
showcase to me.
Yeah, it was nice. I think they should do. I think they should continue to do that, and they should do it in all weight classes
Yeah,
because
I
and
mentioned that for
especially
years.
and especially since um, we're in the era where we have no HBO no more, and Showtime is like hit and miss. Even though Showtime is still trying to put their hat in the
It,
ring, but mainly most of the cards are going to be on Fox and uh, ESPN, stuff like that. But I think with all the fights being on public television, I think they should start doing these tournaments now because it'll start pushing the names out there a lot more.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's so much that could be done. I think the media they the promotion and marketing part about boxing they putting so much money in boxers, but they're not putting it in boxing
Yep.
because you want to get that money back. You got to market and promote these boxers.
Mhm. Mhm. And see, we talked about it offline and stuff, but you sent me a message a while back about was it Tops that got back to you?
Yes,
Yeah.
they
And,
actually start following me on all my media, so that's to me that's kind of a good thing if they kind of interested.
and see that's another thing too. Anybody that is watching it, make sure you guys are sharing this video too. Um, like we will be going, we will be doing shows Sunday and Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Um, get this stuff shared out to them. This could be a big thing to where we have people starting to look at things and we have the information getting pushed out there about boxing games and about boxing cards and about just the movement of boxing. So that's a big thing. It could develop into a very very large thing. So and it's not for me or Poe. It's just for boxing in general.
Exactly.
Um, but what else, man? Well, I mean, the Spencer Porter fight's coming this weekend. I think it's gonna be a fight that's going to show where Spence is at.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not so much. I don't think the spotlight is on Porter so much because Porter has had his time in the light. Not saying that Porter's out of it and he has yeah his shine is over. I'm saying he can Porter can turn around and if he beats Spence and he beats him bad, just saying that could shine Porter into a different light and push him
Yeah,
in a different direction. But I'm saying the type of opponent that Porter is, it's kind of a make or break for Spence. And I think this is a pinnacle for his career because it could put Spence on a lot of bigger and better things.
yeah, because it actually it propels him, because people keep saying Spence is not a side fighter and stuff like that, and they keep saying Terrence Crawford, but Spence he has more fights than Terrence Crawford. He's building his resume up.
Hmm.
Terrence Crawford, he got to like almost like scrape the bottom of the barrel.
Hold on. Move that mic is a little close.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you gotta to the scrubbers gotta scrape like basically the bottom of the barrel to get opponents.
Yeah, I think this whole the whole thing the whole like what's it the the promoter beefs and people not wanting to cross lines and go over here and cross this street and go to that street and I think that that needs to stop. It plagues boxing. It's plagued boxing for many years. I understand
Yeah,
that, but man, we're in a different era. A lot of the promoters back then that were doing it are not even game players and there's one still one game player in the that was way back then, and that's Bob Arum. Um,
yeah. He used to do exactly what he arguing about.
exactly, exactly, and and uh, and now he's I don't know, it's starting to see he's changing his light, he's changing his tone, but you know they like they say zebra ain't changing his stripes,
I
so
think he changing his stripes because he don't have as much as he had before. He don't have like 4 or 5 um people in one weight that he could like circulate.
yeah, yeah, and that
Most of his fighters they went to other companies.
mhm mhm. I mean, his biggest cash cow left him.
Yeah,
And now see what's funny and I know this is part of our talk we touch on this before we get into the list, but his biggest cash cow was Manny Pacquiao
yeah,
for the longest, right? And do you remember that time where Manny Pacquiao was under Arum and Top Rank, and um then you had Crawford there still too,
yeah,
and they really wasn't even pushing Crawford. And Crawford, if I remember correctly, Crawford used to kind of complain about that.
yeah. He said he focused more on Pacquiao than him,
Mm-hmm.
and he's the younger fighter. You know, he should have been pushing him. Pacquiao, even though Pacquiao was like basically about to retire. He's
Yeah.
like, you should push me because Pacquiao about to retire.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
Bob Arum is a businessman. You know, Manny Pacquiao has his people that follow him hardcore, and he has a hardcore following of people.
and that I'm glad you touched on that because as a business, you have a nation behind a boxer and a nation that loves and cherishes this person.
Yes.
And and not to get into a lot of other talks and issues and stuff, but Terrence Crawford didn't have that, and he doesn't have that.
Yeah,
Now
it's true.
he has a backing of people that are boxing fans and boxing enthusiasts saying, "Hey, Terrence Crawford he's the business," and I've always thought that. I thought Terrence Crawford is like he's so sound. Like there's like if you wanted to model after like I have my favorites, my Roy Jones, my Pernell Whitakers and stuff like that, right? But if you want to build a solid boxer that I would say textbook, not really so much textbook like to the book, but like a boxer to be dominant, you would look at Terrence Crawford. I mean, there's others in past history, but I'm talking about current history. Is you would look at Terrence Crawford and be like, that's who you should model after.
Yeah,
or or a
definitely.
or a Spence, but more so Crawford because of how he's doing it, and he's not taking the punishment. Not saying Spence is taking punishment, but I'm saying he's not taking the punishment, and he's so precise with his things, um, and there's not as many flaws I feel in Crawford's versus everybody else. I mean, you look at the Tank Davises and And even though he doesn't have a fight coming up, or he's not even in talks. You look at the Adrian Broners, and you see flaws, and flaws have been pointed out, especially like with Adrian Broner with when he fought Maidana. You've seen these flaws, you know what I'm saying? So and Tank is untested, I feel.
Yeah, that's true. With
But
Bone, I think more with him, it was more with him being too disconnected with his training. It's like he wasn't really focused. He showed all the things that he's really doing. I mean, that he want us to see him doing in camp. But when he came to fight, it's like he was reserved with everything. When he fought Madonna, it's like ever since then he was in reserve mode. He didn't want to. He felt that he was going to get knocked out at any time,
yeah, well,
and he did.
he was doing everything for the gram. He was doing everything for social media. And
Yeah,
and 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 I hope I hope Tank is not that way. But I
yeah, and
see
that's bad because they hang around each other a
I
lot. That's the
and and my dad always said, rest in peace. He's always said, tell me show me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. And that was probably an old Southern saying, um, because I see Adrian Broner in Tank, if that makes sense. I see a lot of the similarities as them two, on how they fight, and they kind of mirror each other in a way. And I hope it's not that way, because it's unfortunate. I used to I liked AB, because
yeah,
when I first caught his win, I'm like, yo, he's doing it, he's doing it. And then when he finally got when he was and that could be where he was just fighting lower level guys, not taken away from any of those guys, but when he fought somebody of substance, when he actually started moving up, and I think that was probably his mistake, is when he fought Maidana, and then he just got washed. Not
yeah.
saying
I
Maidana
think
was a
the
slouch.
discipline. I think the discipline came in. That's one of the reasons why I think he moved up. He used to say any other thing, but I think it was more about discipline. He couldn't hold his weight at a certain way. He started eating steaks and eating more than he usually eat. You know how they say
Yeah.
when you get rich, you start really splurging out.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's basically what Hagler said.
Right.
Who's
He,
gonna run with silk pajamas when you got silk pajamas?
yeah. When you got silk pajamas laying in silk sheets, you ain't getting up to
Yeah,
do that run. Exactly. And that plays a lot of part into it too. And that gets in his mind, and he's like, well, I'm already at a peak, so you know, I ran through these guys. I'm gonna run through these guys, and ooh, another thing happened. But but yeah, this like going back to it, Spence is this is a big turning point. This is a big fight for Spence. I don't know if anybody said it in the boxing world, boxing community, but this is a huge fight for Spence, because it's like it's a shower. It's a show and tell, basically, for Spence in this fight.
yeah,
And
I agree.
and the same thing with Porter. This is a I think this is not so much of a make or break, but this is a, hey, are you declining? Are you getting out of boxing, or are you going to continue this? Because this is this fight right here, I think.
Yeah, and it depends. See, casual fans, they'll get rid of a fighter no matter how much he does. Because then they're going casual fans gonna start putting Sean Porter in the bomb, you know,
Right,
list. They're gonna start calling
because most of them have not seen Porter fight the fights that he fought. They're only seeing him on the analysts, the analytics, the shows,
yeah.
and they're not knowing, hey, oh, he's a fighter, and then they look back and, oh, okay, yeah, oh, he fight, but they're not looking at how he's doing it. Not saying Porter what I think is what 34 now, somewhere
I'm
around
not
there,
sure,
30
but
something.
he's been around for a while.
I think he's like mid 30s. I want to say.
Yeah, Spence still young.
I want to say he's in his mid 30s. I'm gonna try to pull him up real quick. He is um man, that's not it. Born in he was born in 87. What is that? 31? Yeah.
You got me doing math.
Yeah, 30,
Um,
31. 31.
oh yeah, I wanted to tell you I reached out to a PBC,
Right, right. Yeah, 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 yeah. What's going on with that?
and I was telling them that it's companies making boxing games, and they should it helps promote and market boxers. You should get involved. And the guy that I talked to, he said, "We're on it. We're looking at it now." I said, "Wow." I wonder who reached out to them.
I don't think it's any of them that are that we know of.
Uh-huh.
Um, I just don't see and this is me. I'm gonna be 100% candid. I'm gonna be 100% me because that's what I can be.
Uh-huh.
But I don't see the teams that are working on games right now capable of handling something of a higher magnitude, like a having a company like PBC stepping in, or any promoter stepping in, Eddie Hearns, with Matchroom, or Golden Boy, Top Rank, even DeBella Promotions, or anybody else, anybody that I'm missing. I just don't see them capable of handling what their expectations would be.
And a lot of these, and when it comes to these promotions, then you gotta say, what are their expectations for a game? Because a lot of, to me, promotion companies,
They
they
don't know.
just want
They
their
don't.
boxes names out there. They don't know,
Right.
how
Right.
you're
See.
gonna formulate it in the game.
Right. And that's the thing. That's the thing is it's a double edge now. I personally don't see him meeting the standards as with my knowledge of gaming, and me being a gamer, and,
Uh,
and, and the background that I have in gaming. I just don't see them handling uh, a game like that is going to put out of like the highest quality. Um, Now promotion teams are double-edged swords. Some of them might not strive for that high quality. I think they should, because
yeah.
it helps push that push boxing for one, and it helps push that boxer, and it helps push the names of everything else. I think they should strive for that quality. But a lot of times you don't get what is expected out of a boxing game, especially nowadays. I mean, if you look back, and you might not be aware of it, but you might be. You might be. They had that HBO boxing game
Oh yeah.
for PlayStation One, if I'm correct. And that wasn't that was not good at all. Granted, it was limited to the hardware at the time, but
And they didn't do nothing for the boxing. Basically, like boxing had to push themselves because nobody really talked about it.
on the other hand, you had more people looking at Fight Night, or not Fight Night. At the times it was Knockout Kings,
Yeah.
rather a HBO boxing, because HBO had that game, and there's other games in the past. I mean, there's games like Julio Cesar Chavez boxing. I think he put out two or three games,
Yeah, it's
which
a lot of games that went
back and that was
way
back
under the radar.
and that was back in Super Nintendo. And I loved those games. Those games were decent for the time and the space that it was in. Um,
Yeah.
and then there was uh,
Prince Nassim had a game.
yeah, Prince Nassim had a game. There was a lot of games back in the day where all that stuff fell off. All of it fell off, and and now there's nothing at all. And they should look at they should get somebody that is not just a part of that said whatever team they might be looking at, but they should get somebody in the boxing world that is not only a boxing fan and has knowledge of boxing, but also knowledge of gaming
Yeah.
to to where if excuse me, let's say a matchroom like with Eddie Hearns or the Al Haymon, the PBC or even Top Rank or whatever. Say they throw their hat in the ring and they're getting behind a company and they put out a Rock'em Sock'em Robots damn near. That's not going to do anything for people are going to go, oh, okay, and that's it, and they're going to look at it like a Don King prize fighter. Like that's what we get. We get a Don King prize fighter when promotional companies are just thinking about money. Which granted, think about the money, but also think about the product that you're putting out because that makes your name that much stronger. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
But go ahead. I mean, what's your take on the whole what the email you got from the PVC?
I just wanted to know who they was talking to because some things I'm in the dark about, about you know round for round boxing, So I don't know if they reached out to the cup round for round, hard knock nights, or they actually doing the game with somebody else.
Yeah. See, this is what I want to know. And um I'm not asking you. I'm just putting it out there. We know who's behind. We know the team that's behind Hard Knock Nights. We know the company that's behind Hard Knock Nights. Canadapp Studios. They are a company. I looked them up. They have paperwork. But who's behind Round for Round? That's what I want to know. You don't have to answer that. I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything, but I'm just asking this
Oh,
question.
yeah,
Um,
I hear you. Fans want to know.
yeah, what I'm saying like if we go back to things everything that was said, like there's a lot of things where I haven't touched on, and a lot of people are not paying attention to, or they might be paying attention to, and they're just not articulating it the way I would do it. But there's a lot of things where fans are getting impatient, and they say, "Oh, they're impatient." No, it's not impatience. It's they're listening to what people are saying, and when you say certain things, they expect them as fans. They expect things, dates to get hit. They expect uh, 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 gameplay to be at a certain time. They expect trailers to come out at a certain time if you say so. Because I said it to you earlier offline. I said it to if you can't trust a man in its word, then what do you have in his
Yeah,
word? Then what
exactly.
do you have? And this is why fans are pushing back on a lot of these companies, Hard Knock Nights and Round for Round, saying where's this, where's that, because of things that they said, and they're not understanding that, and there's that disconnect, and they're just thinking, oh well, they're impatient, fans are impatient. Nah, it's not that, man. It's based off of what's being said and what's being conveyed to the public. That's what I feel, and that's just me, because I don't know anything that's going on in behind the scenes, but I'm looking at it from a fan's point of view, and I'm looking at it as a business point of view, because I've done a little digging, uh, um, on both sides, and like I said, to me, like I said in previous ones, a lot of things don't add up. So we just want to know, we just want to hear something that we can hold people to when
Yeah,
it
cause
and when
I,
it's
I
being
got
said.
yeah, cause I got a lot of DMs and emails of people just going in, and I'm like, yo, and even some of my friends, they're like, yo, Poe, what's going on? You on the team, and y'all don't have anything yet. And I was like, this is not my game. I don't have no money vested in this game.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm not even like a major player in this game.
yeah, you're used for this right here, the boxing list, and them taking pieces out of it, and that's fine. That there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Because if that's what needs to be done to make a solid boxing game, so be it. So be it. Um, Speaking about solid boxing games, there's news, I guess you would say. How long ago was that? You told me to look at the comments. How long ago um were those, what do you call
I
it,
think
man?
in
Five
January.
About 5 months ago.
Yeah,
So for people that are um itching for a boxing game, dying for a boxing game, there is one that I would personally jump behind. Um, is that Project Boxing? I'll in the in the comments I'll drop a link to the YouTube page. Um, that game, it's one guy. He says he's still doing it. He's still doing it. This was 5 months ago, and he's responded to comments saying that he's just been busy with he has another job. He has a job, so that's what he's working on. And it's just slowed up the
process.
the process of that game. But that is a game. If and we'll I'm gonna reach out to him too. Um, and if any of you, anybody that watches this, definitely, like I said, it'll be in the description or in the comments after this. It'll be pinned in the comments. Go out there and let's see what we can do with that one. I mean, that's a looks like a solid game. It's a prototype. It might be a little rough around the edges, but it's a working prototype. That's the key. It's we can see that it's a working game. It's not just any video of a video or anything like that. It's something that's working, and that says more than anything of what other games are doing.
Yeah, I talked to him a lot last what 2 years. I've been talking to him about and I was telling him he should get a team. I said, you doing it by yourself, and you did, to me, that's a lot you did by yourself. And I said, imagine if you had a team what you can produce.
But see
And he
that
said, yeah,
that's the difference between somebody that knows what they're talking about and does exactly what they're talking about. Um, and somebody that is piecing together a game. That's the difference, man. and you see it right then and there. That's what I was talking. I think last show is where a natural cycle of things is you prototype a game before you even before you start even talking about a game. Is you have a working prototype already working, already ready to go to to show people so people can get behind it. That's how it starts. It was last show because you talked about EA did that with nondescript fighters.
Yeah,
So
they had a prototype.
so that's the way, what do you call it, does. That's the way the process of building games are. They have a working prototype. Um, but to each his own. Everybody has their different processes, but um, if there's a tested process that's a common practice in that field, and people are going against the grain. I mean, you see what happens when people go against the grain and don't have that, follow these same steps, and they put out bad products, and it happens all the time. But enough said with that. I mean, did you want to get into anything else?
No, that's it. We can talk about with that at the moment.
Okay. So yeah, links will be in the comments for the Project Boxing, the YouTube. So you guys check that out and show them some love over there, and see what a boxing game could look like if done right. So moving on, where did we leave off, man? Where we
I I think we left off at the realism. I'm not sure.
was that
Yeah,
seven?
because I
Was that
think the last thing I heard, I think we talked about teletape, and I think we ended with that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, man. I got there's so much been going on, so I'm like,
Yeah,
let's see. Da, da, da,
refs in
da.
the ring. We touched on that storylines and rivalries. We said stories. That's a waste of money. We said that before, but the
Yeah,
rivalry part that could fit in there.
rivalries could still get fit in, still fit in the whole process. I mean, we'll just
Yeah,
touch on this. Um, it can still fit in the same in that process because if they implement something like a Twitter or some kind of like social media, something like that, um, rivalries can and weigh-ins. They haven't done a weigh-in since round three.
yeah, that makes no sense.
I mean, that's the only game that actually had a weigh-in. Weigh-ins should be done. Rivalries, you should have the option to start a rivalry or not. Um, it shouldn't just be triggered by just being triggered. It should be um, something that you can create, and I mean not like super in depth, but like send out a tweet and or have somebody from your amateurs that you can that's fighting the same weight class as you, and you can trigger it that way.
Yeah, that
You know.
sounds nice.
But yeah, rivalry should be a thing. Um, more injuries during fights, ribs, hands. Mm, I'm gonna let you talk on that one because I feel a certain way about that.
Um, to me, with this comes with adjustments. Depends on how frequently during the course of the fights. Like if you're playing in a career mode or something like that, or some type of offline mode, it's the frequency that your character could get injured, or is he subjected to getting injured because of the way he trained or he handled it. So um, it's a couple of games that had this in there. Like what's
Champion
that
champ,
fighting game?
champions had it in it.
Yeah, but there was a game that showed like when you hit a person to the ribs, his ribs actually broke. Like if you constantly hit a person to the ribs or something like that, they should like it have wear effect on them. And I'm talking about for like as a career mode, but like as if you fighting online or something like that, I think it still could fit in there. I've seen that in the games.
They try to do it and champion.
Mm.
Um, it failed. I
But
th-
was it like I
I think
didn't really play champion, but
I
was it
think
like a rush process?
I think it just happened like once. It's I guess you can call it a rush process. But it's like it was part of the story and it was part of the whole story mode. So yeah, it was kind of
Yeah,
rushed, but it like I like the idea, but I don't
yeah,
because
I get that.
it's that's why I said I feel a certain way about it. The reason being I feel a certain way is because um, if you're trying to get deep into the boxing sim and stuff that feel okay, yeah, great, do it, throw it in there. It has to be done right. It has to be dialed in right, but it has to play into a lot of and that would be more of the RPG of a boxing game, the role playing game of a boxing game, because other things have to, like you were saying, if you train this a certain way, then you can get hurt during the fight, or if you do a lack of training, then you can get hurt. There's a lot of things that should play into it, but with having those things in there, it would be more of a RPG boxing game, RPG sim boxing game, rather than
Yeah,
being a just a straight up like button masher casual fighting boxing game.
yeah.
And
But how
that's
you feel like? How do you feel like if we're fighting and I cut you and keep hitting you and hitting you in that same area, that should affect you.
right. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Damage wise and fighting wise, but
Okay.
like getting like as my boxer getting hurt, like if I throw a punch and let's say I fracture my hand or my wrist or something, and I can't
Oh
use
no,
and I get
randomly. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
and I can't use that hand. Okay, yeah, that happens in real life boxing, but if you really think about past boxing games, that one little instance in Fight Night Champions set aside. But if you think about that, like the only way that like gameplay wise that can fit in is if it was like a a true sim, like these games these companies are talking about, a true sim one or an RPG simulation boxing game. I think that's those about the only ways that they can play that in there, um, to have these injuries, self-inflicted injuries, or your boxer's injuries, rather than just like damage from the fight itself. Because all we've got recently in boxing games, in the boxing games that have been out, is damage from the fight itself, not injuries.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it can get in depth. You can put into where let's say I break my hand. Let's say I'm like a Floyd Mayweather, right? In his early
Mm.
years, and I hurt my hand, but I continue throwing that hand, throwing that same punch or the punch with that hand, any type of punch or whatever. It can also hurt me to where it will stop me from fighting. Like that could be a mechanic in the game, but casual fans might not like that.
In a way, see that what you the way you explain it, it makes you think more. But then you think a lot of the casual games are fighting game players. They play the Mortal Kombat's where somebody get hit and they like be groggy or like they don't have their senses together because they got hit with a certain punch and stuff like that.
Right?
So certain things, I think it can fit, but
No,
it's still it's about implementation of it, how you put it in there.
right, but I'm saying if this is If I'm doing a career, because you got to think about the where the gaming landscape is nowadays. Gaming
Yeah,
landscape is not so much offline. It's a big majority of our cat of the casual gamers are online. So if you're having this online career mode like a, let's say, like a 2K does, where it's kind of offline online, because you can go to the park and stuff, but if you're fighting to where this mechanic is in the game and this happens, that's going to turn a lot of people off because they don't want their fighter to get hurt. Now cuts and everything, that's different because that's expected in a fight. But me to break my hand, that's not expected for a casual person because
yeah,
they're not going to really know that this happens in a fight until they actually sit down and say, "Oh yeah, you know what? Damn, that does happen. You know, it happened in the past or whatever."
yeah. Makes
Like I said,
sense.
I like it. I like it.
But that to me, that'll go on an option thing. Like you got an option to put. Like a lot of these things, they could be options. You know, how they you could click on. I want to play this the way I want to play my game and stuff. That can be put in, but then you got to think about implementing that. Would I take time and the resources away from other things that could be put in the game?
Nah, because it's part of. I don't think so because it can be part of the UI building. So it's just a matter of when you're see when you're building out mechanics of a game, you're gonna have that time allotted anyways. Now
Yeah.
putting let's say 1,000 things in the game, yeah, that's gonna take time, and to where each everything plays off of each other, yeah, that's gonna take time and resources and everything else. But if you like I said way when we first did our show, our second show or whatever, if you dial this list down and try to not dumb it down, but like try to get core things in there to where it's like a human nature kind of thing, to where, like, what I mean by that is, like, we don't think about breathing, we just do it. Like subconsciously it's already it's a mechanic in our bodies that we already do. So if they can dwindle this list down to where there's things that are un unwritten, but they're written, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like the game already does them, but nobody's really like talking about them unless they're really actually talking about them. Unless they're trying to point these things out that how the game automatically does these things. Because they can do that. They can do that. There's a lot of like NBA 2K, for instance. If the 2K20, regardless of however everybody feels about the reviews and the way things are about it right now, but there's little things where certain players have certain tendencies and they have that quick release like a Steph Curry. Steph Curry plays like Steph Curry in NBA 2K20. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he
And
does.
even some of the history fighters, I mean not fighters, but players, like Stephon Marbury. I was around to know not to know Stephon Marbury personally, but to see him play. And as I'm playing him in the game, I'm like, yo, this is Stephon Marbury. Like the way he moves and how he slashes to the court real quick, and he had that very quick first step, kind of like Allen Iverson did, but it was a little different. It was I think it was probably quicker than Iverson. Um, but that's the way they should look at these things, the little things, and implement it in a boxing game.
I agree. That's the approach that should always be taken
Hmm.
when you're making some, especially when you're dealing with sports. You should take the approach of we trying to make it feel as close as possible to the actual thing.
But what do you think that is, man? Do you think that's? 'Cause, I mean, we talked about it a couple times. Do you think that, okay, like, who do you get for that? what kind of person do you get for that to be a part of your team?
You definitely gotta actually do like what I keep saying is when they make Madden, they have football gurus
Not just football
on the
gurus,
team.
but they have actual ex-football players,
Yeah,
and some players that you might not there might not be the biggest names, but they were definitely key players in football in their time period.
yeah, and
That are
they have a stat tracker, a person that know the stats of each player, and he that plays into the development. And
hmm
then with let me see, when with the basketball, they have people that play basketball. They're basketball gurus that know the stats of each player. They know every little
well they have
little things.
with
What
NBA
you say?
2K with NBA 2K they actually have a person that's well they have a group of people, but there's the head guy. That's all he does is stats.
Yeah, and that's what a boxing game need, a stat guy. They need a historian, and a lot of people, if you get certain people, they feel like it's not necessary.
But
But this
okay,
is not a fighting game. I mean, a boxing is not a fighting game. It's a boxing game. It's a sport.
okay, all right. So hold on. Define historian.
A person that they know all the box, they know boxer styles from
Hold
way
on,
back to
hold,
now.
hold on. Pull that mic a little ways.
Okay, they know they know the every little thing about boxers from the almost the first days of boxing to now. They know their stats, they know the tendencies, they know things that you might not even know. As a semi casual or those even some hard people like, oh, I never thought of that. I never heard of that. That's the person that you need there to guide you. Like if you're doing motion caps, you'd be like, nah, that's not exactly how he did it. Or you got a person doing motion cap and he's doing Sugar Ray Robinson, and you say, hold up, and Sugar Ray Robinson did a little skip when he did this move. He did a little hop, like skip walk when he did this punch or did that. That's the people that you need. So fans, when fans see it, they be like, "Oh, sweat, that's him. They got him down pat."
Okay, so with that said, now that you define that for everybody, and I agree with you. I agree with you on that. There I don't disagree at all. But now that you define that, who in the world today? Because I can think of a person right off the top of my head, but he's no longer with us. Bert Sugar.
Oh yeah,
Um,
bro. I
but
got a guy that's just as deep as him, and that's Jim Truzzle. I don't know if I'm butchering his names or not, but there's a guy, he wrote books. He used to be a teacher and everything. Him and his brother, they made title boxing. This guy knows his stuff. It's like sometimes be a little edgy on because he's an older guy and he favors more of the old school boxers than the new school boxers. But he knows his stuff. He knows the ins and outs. He knows these little things about boxing. And I always be like, how do you have time for a family life? He got kids and everything. I said, what? How do you know all this stuff? But he knows the stuff.
I'm not too familiar with him. Uh, I'll take a look at him. But anybody else you can think of. And I'm not discrediting him at all. I just don't know anything. I can't speak about him like that. So anybody else that you can think
That
of?
like that, I would get a historian tag.
Yeah.
Not right now. No, I don't. I'm not. I can't think of nobody else. I guess because I'm focused so much on him that I just forgot about the other people that may know more, know stuff about boxing. Who comes to mind for you?
I'm off the top of my head. I'm thinking two people. But they're big names. maybe three. But
Al Bernstein.
uh, yo, he would be. Yeah, that would be. I didn't even think about that one. I didn't even think about that one. But yeah, Al, he would be. I think probably one of the closest things to a Burt Sugar because Burt Sugar was like he was on something else. That guy, he spanned it like eras. You know what I'm saying? Like he was old school boxing too. Like he still was that guy with like the I wouldn't say a fedora hat, but like he with the hat and like I picture him with like a little press card in his mouth puffing on a cigar
Yeah, yeah,
kind of thing, little press card little thing in his hat and him just puffing the cigar just talking to you. That's why I see Burt Sugar and just knowing his stuff. But two people that off the top of my head
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
that
I don't know why he escaped my mind.
but Paulie Malignaggi
Oh, okay.
and Mike Tyson.
Oh yeah, Mike Tyson definitely. I thought you was gonna say Teddy Atlas.
Well, Teddy too. Teddy too. I wasn't even thinking about Teddy. Teddy and Al
Yeah,
Bernstein. Those are not. That's four right there. You know what I'm saying? I
yeah,
mean, but those guys right there. Those four guys are pugilists. They not only did they well two of them lived the sport. Three of them actually. I don't think Al Bernstein fought at all. I think he was just more on the press side and fought in the
yeah,
stuff like that. But Teddy Atlas with the training and Polly and Tyson, you know, they are a wealth of knowledge. Not only that, but you have like if you look at a guy like Polly, right? There's another guy I just watched a video, not saying that he's a super historian or anything, but for motion capture wise, there's a video, and I'll probably post it in the description or in the comments. There's a video of Nonito Donaire doing doing um, different fighters' movements. He did Manny, he did Roy, he did Oscar De La Hoya, he did Mayweather. Not really a good Mayweather, but he did a Mayweather. And he did some other people. But those are types of things that you look into. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what makes a boxing game. Because my biggest issue with round well any of the fight nights really any of the fight nights um, even my favorite fight night of all 2004 really didn't fight like their real life counterparts. It was just one kind of like three maybe three styles and
yeah.
and
And I
that's it.
think round 4 or 5 style. And that shows that they didn't have anyone in the studio that was a consultant. Yeah,
And
they went out to talk to like in Champion. Yeah, they went out to talk to the boxers and stuff. But they didn't bring them back to the studio and actually go through little things. They had Lennox Lewis and Winky Wright do motion caption, but I think it was more for us to see because they had the suits on and stuff. Because
no,
it
you know,
still seemed like their fighting styles wasn't there.
no, it wasn't because they were just showing they were just doing textbook. That's all. They weren't doing they weren't doing a Lennox Lewis. They weren't doing a Winky Wright. They weren't doing other fighters. They were just getting a baseline fighting style. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like it wasn't anything else but that. Um, and and that will set any boxing game apart if each fighter fights like their real life counterpart or the closest they can get to it. You know, if they're historic like legendary fighters that have passed or have the not the ability to uh, um, say, hey, no, I didn't fight this way, I didn't do that, I didn't do this. That might not be able to mimic their prime days. Gerald McClellan. You know what I'm saying? Like he can't
Yeah.
he can't convey what he did. You know what I'm saying? You can only go by tape at that point. And I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the teams that we know, the round for round and the hard knock nights, are going to put in the time to sit and watch tape to for the animators to animate properly to that person or to their these counterpart in-game characters. I don't think they're going to do that.
I hope so. I can't really say. I don't want to put nothing out there. I just can't really
No,
say.
no, I'm saying
I
because
know you just putting it out there.
right, but the reason why I say that is because um, you have a company, a big major company, and other companies. If they're not doing it, why is this little company that has limited resources, limited knowledge, limited funds, limited time, why would they do these things that are time consuming? Like watch tape on let's say G-Man. That's my thing.
Yeah. And the thing is, a lot of these big companies they try to cut many corners they can
Hmm.
without seeming like they cutting corners.
And some of
But
these,
the indies companies, it's about having a strong team in general.
but
Because I was talking to one of my friends, he works for Epic, yeah, Epic Games, and he was saying, a lot of these things could be done. I don't want to put his name out there, but he used to be a senior moderator for he had a higher title than that, but it was for EA. But we were friends way before he even dealt with EA Madden. He was like the early inception of Madden. I think what like the 2000. It might have been 97 when he was with EA.
mm,
I'm not sure, but
yeah, this
he's been
before
there for a long time.
before the 3D Maddens, I think.
Yeah, so we've talked a lot, and he said it could be done. His idea was basically just do it. He said if you get anybody to do a game, just do a game with no name characters and do it online first. Just do an online game. Just straight up, a free to play, and then you start adding stuff, basically doing like um Warframe. That's the idea that he was putting out there.
And that's completely doable. I don't know. I mean, some of these guys are a little bit too late, but you would have hashed out these things if you would have had a proper like storyboarding, what I would call a storyboarding from the early conceptions, and not just come out and be like, boxing game, we're doing it. We got a trailer out in a week. Like that's bad. That's bad.
It sounds bad.
It's bad. I mean, because people hear these things and they go, all right, cool. We're gonna get a trailer in a week, and then it doesn't happen, and then months go by, almost a year goes by, and you still ain't delivered, and that's happened on both ends too. Both ends currently with the teams. So like I said, we'll see. But um, blocking.
No, a well-timed counter. Did you touch on that?
Well, no, I didn't. Well time kind of more damn. Like,
Somebody throw a punch and you like boom catch them.
oh, well
So
time
that's what
counters.
he get.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
that's where a
okay.
lot of people get their knockouts from countering somebody with a good punch.
Okay, yeah. See, that has to be you see mm.
EA put it in, but then they dialed it down.
Nah, they put it in and they made it arcade.
Yeah,
They made it to where it's what's the word I'm trying to look for here? They made it um damn, I'm thinking of the word like exploitable. That's what I'm trying to. They made it very exploitable.
yeah. See, this the thing when we was just talking about watching films. You look at the best counter punches in boxing history, and you see what they did to get that counter, and how can we make it so it fits in a boxing video game.
Right, but and on the other hand, you can only have like I said it last show. There's a lot of things where you can't quantify, and excuse me for using the word quantify, but you can't
Uh,
actually put that into a game where you're programming it because some of these things are not programmable. If that you understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like it wouldn't it doesn't translate from real life boxing to game world programming and creating it that way. It's kind of doable, but you need the people that are knowledgeable that of their
yeah,
profession. They have to be really knowledgeable of the software and the systems that they're using to implement it properly. But somebody just picking it up for let's say the first time, like picking up an Unreal Engine or a Unity engine, um, and trying to implement these things might be a little hard because they're not fully versed in Unreal or Unity, um, to where it looks like boxing would or it feels like boxing would. Um, and that's how we get people cutting corners using uh, free animations from websites.
yeah,
Boxing freezes moment. Okay, so I didn't like that in Fight Night.
yeah. It seemed more like how we always say, seem like it's fit for the UFC more than boxing.
Yeah, it that that like that frozen moment. I think that started in round four, I think, or was it
No,
a
it was
three?
round three. Round
Okay,
three.
yeah, I didn't like because the window was like you couldn't get back fast enough. You couldn't get back the block, or you couldn't move out the way. Like it was too slow. It slowed it way too down. Because I mean, realistically, does that really like it's quick in boxing when that happens. Like you
Yeah,
see a
nobody freeze for that long like that. Boom, and then they stuck and oh man.
yeah
When I think about the freezes, I think about it sound like garbage cans crashing. Like boom. I'm like, yo, what the heck?
yeah like it was too bad. Like I couldn't. Oh man, I used to want to throw the controller at the what do you call it at the TV. I hated that. I hated it. Because if you think about boxing, it's real quick. It's like it happens in milliseconds, and they have to get that. They have to gameplay cycle wise, mechanical wise. They have to make sure it's a right, it's an even window, not something super where you're just stuck and your arm goes down slowly and you get hit five
Yeah.
times. Like nah, man, it don't happen like that.
Yo,
All right.
please exploit that.
Oh, super bad, horribly. Let's see. Knockout of boxers should be knockout boxers should be on a on a stool.
A knocked out boxer should be on a stool getting doctor attention instead
Oh,
of his
oh,
corner.
okay, okay. I was reading. It wasn't registering in my head, man. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. When they get after they get knocked out, and they goes to the little cut scenes at the end, like at the end of the fight. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like
Yeah,
that.
those little things that I'm like, yo, I think that was in the game before, but they took it out. That makes sense. You know, you sitting on your stool, getting doctor attention and stuff. It adds to the whole atmosphere of the game
Hmm. Bug fixes, counter block, the perfect block.
that
Um,
we just talking
yeah, we
about.
just talked about that. Get a loss for quitting a ranked match online. Yeah, of course, of course. Now, it if we'll see. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. This is what bugs me about like 2K wise because I played my team on 2K. Um, but let's say the game crashes. Who gets a loss then?
Yeah, that's a thing that I made an idea about when you're offline because they had this is something that I get excited about that they had a technology that the game remembers your play style. And if the game crashes or you go offline, your character still fights similar to the way that you usually fight. So if your game cuts off or disconnect, your fighter gonna still keep fighting similar to that style. How do you feel about that? Instead of you just taking a loss without giving no effort.
Mm, uh,
That is a head scratcher, huh?
well, the only reason I'm pausing and I'm like, damn, oh, okay, how is because see there has to be and I'm looking at the difficulty levels, right?
Uh-huh.
See, there has to be a way that because it'll be hard to know your tendencies. I mean, it's doable, it's doable, but it would have to fall in lines of like it would have to set like jump to a difficulty level. It would have to be programmed into a difficulty level. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I remember there was it was 2K that your character they like it's like a memory. I don't They had some type of technology that memorized the way that you play the game. And I don't know what kind of mode it was, but your player will play that same way. Like if you make a character, I forgot how it was put out, but I remember they had that technology like that.
It, yeah, I don't think they because there's I mean nowadays yes I can say that because but back years ago I no that's just like buzzwords because
Uh,
back years ago they didn't have the deep machine learning as they have it today. It was very like like not even basic. It was just like it was so dumbed down then. Like it wouldn't have been able to record and to mimic that back then. But nowadays, because we have autonomous driving and stuff like that, that's all machine learning.
yeah.
I just don't see like 8 years ago us having the machine learning that we have now because I don't like it wasn't around. I don't think it was too early for it at 8 years ago. But it's something they could probably create now, but it's gonna take R&D, and that's money.
Uh,
But it's plausible.
yeah. But no matter what, with this getting lost in equipment because you lose your server, that this got to be thought about now because we're about to go into that online only or online gaming.
Yeah,
You know,
where
everything
everything.
functions off online.
Yeah, yeah, and these things are not. I mean, they're probably in the works, but we just don't know about them publicly.
Yeah, because
Um,
there's gonna be a lot of disconnections.
right,
I
and
think
and
the first 1 or 2 years.
and that's going to happen because people can, like, let's say if they have an Ethernet cable in the back of their console or plugged into their or even if they're doing it over Wi-Fi, all they have to do is just unplug that router, and oh, you don't get a loss because you lost signal.
Yeah,
And people cheat the systems that way.
I remember that when I was playing Fight
You
Night.
know. All right. So glued feet, yo, boxer has to have movement.
Yeah,
It's not Rock'em Sock'em Robots. People.
and that shows you that it was put there for that reason.
Hmm. I
Like
mean,
when you get close, it automatically glue your feet to the floor. We fighting.
and it's Rock'em Sock'em Robots. That's what the current fight nights, the more up to date fight nights were.
Yeah,
You couldn't get away. Couldn't get away. And that's what I like about Project Boxing is because they have like there's an emphasis on moving. And he's even said that about he's been looking at movement because that's how boxing
yeah,
is. That's what boxing is. It's movement. It's fucking chess. I mean,
yeah. He do a
it's
lot
chess.
of research.
It's chess. It's not checkers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Um, Setting sliders, difficulty levels. We have amateur very easy, prospect easy, challenger normal, world class hard, champion very hard, legendary, goat extremely hard. Um, I like those. I like those. Um, and to get more in depth, I think you should be able to have what do we have here? Six? Yeah. Where there should be a seven where it's customized
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
to where
never
you can
thought of that.
turn off sliders here and there, like where you can turn off the flash knockouts or stuff like that. And that should be only on offline mode. Or if
Yeah,
you if you're if and all, I think all online modes on games should be normalized. It should be skill based only.
unless you have lobbies and then y'all sign a certain, like the
Right.
idea I call it a contract. That they
Parameters
got
of
to
the
use
yeah.
that contract thing.
Yeah, unless they have the ability to do private servers, which a lot of what do you call it don't, unless they're selling servers. If you have dedicated servers, that would be a thing to where people can actually buy servers and do stuff like that. But uh, it should be strictly normalized, especially on ranked fights, because that can go into more of the esports stuff and everything. Because if you look at 2K, 2K has a different build for their NBA League, 2K League,
Uh,
versus what we'll play online or even offline. It's a different build. It's more dialed in, and everybody says that that build is different. That build is it's not the same build, and that's what they should do, especially on online. It should be a slightly different, more dialed in build than if you're playing it offline. So we got ambidextrous.
yeah, you could turn it, you know, be yes or no. Your fighter could be ambidextrous or not.
But
Because a lot of people they be like, I want my boxer to switch up, and to me, every boxer cannot switch up. If you fighting with a certain fighter that never fought southpaw, you shouldn't be able to do it easy.
on the list, that should move though. That should be in a creative boxer area. it could be under accuracy and realism, but some of this stuff is kind of creative boxer too. Some of it's not.
Yeah,
It's a mixed bag. But that should be on creative boxer. But yeah, you should. I like that, but to have it where you have to train on that on the creative boxer side. If you're ambidextrous, you have to train both ways. It shouldn't just be a given. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like if you're training southpaw throughout your career, and then just because you have the ambidextrous trait on there or whatever the slider clicked on or whatever that is, doesn't mean that you can just switch it up because you've been training all this way this way all your career for that boxer. Do you see what I'm saying?
yeah. I hear.
I think it should be to where you have to train both sides for your creative fighter. Foot styles, move. This goes back into movement and the glued feet. You need different styles,
Yes,
different walks, different uh, motion captures done for this. I think there should be a couple of like quite a few of them, honestly. More
yeah.
more than
The list could be more than that. Way
more than
more
just
than
yeah,
that.
way more than just than what's on here right now. Um, but yeah, flat-footed, textbook, butterfly, skip walk. Then you have the jumping, the lunging,
Yeah,
like the Roy Jones. Like there's a lot of different styles, but that goes back to having somebody that is more of that boxing historian and that has that in depth knowledge of boxers and different styles. Um, there's more details in the creative boxing wish list document. Okay, so number 10, gameplay sliders. Um, as many as possible. Period. I like that. I like that. So yeah, have it to where you can, you know, well, like I'm just speaking about 2K, but they have it on Madden too, to where you can turn off like offensive encroachment or defensive encroachment, stuff like that. You can turn off certain rules um, on the sliders and have your customized sliders. Yeah, that should be a thing. Especially if you want a certain gameplay style online or offline, you can do so. 11, creative boxer. Creative boxer mode. All right, go ahead. What are you saying on this?
all right, this was a major disappointment for everyone. That's why we got super detailed, super dedicated. Papanosis came up with all the details we want for Fight Night Round 4 at that time. In the cab system, what he came up with is so large and detailed, it had its own document. See the cab wish list document. He asked for more slots. Um,
As
some
many
of the
bucks.
stuff, is like you got to read it from
Yeah,
the whoever want to read it, they could go and read it.
um the list will be in the what do you call it? If you guys like to have the list will be pinned in the description of the video. And if you guys are having trouble with getting the links or whatever to read it, let me know in the comments. I'll definitely post it up there. But more slots like NBA 2K has it right now to where you can create multiple creative careers, and each one has
Yeah,
its own slot. So yeah, I think they should have quite a few. Um, and on the creative boxer side because you might want to do a welterweight, different weight classes and stuff. Try out different fighter builds or whatever. Uh,
And he was giving examples.
Logo creator tool, WWE, SmackDown versus Raw 2010. Okay, there's a link there. Um, oh, wait, okay, hold up. What's this? What's this? Oh, Tiger Woods, PGA, game face with shade slider into. Okay, so there was one thing that I picked up on in an old interview to where somebody talked about this and they said that they don't know anything about it or they don't know if it was going to be in a game. And a lot of people I see on both ends, the hard knocks and the round for round. Uh, a lot of people are asking about this for the creative fighter for facial scans.
Oh yeah. Well, I can't say nothing about that. I just know that it's going to be a creation mode in it. I just don't know how detailed or what it's going to be.
Right, but I think that a lot of people don't know that there's things out there. There's not only companies out there, but there's tools out there to where you can do face scans and all this other stuff. I mean, hell, with NBA 2K now, it you used to have to do it with your camera connected to your console. Now you can just do it
Yeah,
with your phone. You just do it with your phone now.
yeah, I saw that. I was like, wow.
You know what I'm saying? And this is the level of what people are expecting because these are baselines now. These are baselines being set, and people are expecting these things. And it will be definitely it will be a huge miss if it's not in any of the games. That's what I would say. Uh,
Especially the creation mode because to me, it helps with what you don't have, and it keeps the game going with the creation mode and a good gameplay. The creation mode it helps a lot
yeah,
till you get a hold on what's going on.
downloading boxers and stuff like that, and sharing boxers and stuff. It, man, that's a big thing, huge thing.
Yes,
Um, then this is the different sliders and stuff, different body morphin, um, Fight Night Round 3, Saints Row 2, um, advanced sliders, different things you guys can look up. So it's there. And there's, like I said, there's a link right here for um, SmackDown. But there's references that if people just go back and look at some of these old sports games, man, or just games in general, there's things that can be used. Um, Creative boxer sliders. Uh, well, ratings actually. So it says see list for creative boxer wish list document. All right, so ratings. What what do you guys what's this all this information here? Left hook power.
yeah. See, right and left hand. Everybody like see this going. I don't know. See, this basically what you was actually talking about. Well, everything online has to be like balanced,
Yeah, definitely.
but offline or career mode or whatever, each boxer, even though some people say they want to be able to play the way they fight a fight online, they want to be able to utilize their tools. But right here, like if let's say Mike Tyson, he had power in both hands, but his right hand had a percentage that was higher than his left hand,
Mhm.
and his hook was just as strong as his right hand. So, give these ratings to each one of, certain boxers punches.
See, I
Like,
think. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, like you gonna say his foot speed should, boxer's foot speed should have a different rating. Their punch accuracy, hand speed, their blocking strength, because some boxers they don't block like have a good blocking setup. All these things.
I'm
But
trying to.
what you was about to say?
I another thing I just thought about right now, just completely just random. I don't think there was ever like speed and quickness in any fighting game.
I think the earlier ones. I think
Like
I'm going
I'm
by
talking about like
Knockout King.
I'm talking about like foot speed wise, to where you can actually get around and move. I don't think that was ever a thing.
No, I don't think so either.
I know like hand speed, yeah, but never like movement. Like that was never really a. I think that should be a key thing, especially in the and just the boxing game alone. I mean, because some fighters didn't move, like they weren't quick to move out of the way or jump back or slide a pivot to the side or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like some fighters didn't have that foot speed. But what I was gonna say is, um, on the online mode, if you're doing online, right, and it's normalized,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's the same. Tennis, power wise, and it's based off of skills. Now, the thing that will be different and it's not normalized is how that boxer moves. You understand? If like that will be the differentiating factor if you take, let's say, uh, a James Toney at heavyweight and fight a Tyson at heavyweight. Well, Tyson only fought heavyweight as a fighter. So, but like you take those two things, right? And their stats are pretty much like the same all the way down. Like there's no difference between the stats, but the way they move is the key factor, and that will help you with your skill. Because if you learn that fighter, if you learn how to use your head movement with Tyson, you can negate Tony's slickness. Or if you don't know how to use Tyson's head movement and his bobbing and weaving, then Tony can put out a Tyson with his slickness and his hidden counter punches and stuff. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To where it kind of goes into tendencies in a way, um, but not so much of like body puncher, head puncher, never feints, never feints, not like that, but just how the 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 fighter actually fights, not based off of like the powers and everything, because that I think that's a big thing where that's a problem with round for round, or not round for round. I'm sorry, my bad. Fight night is everybody went and picked up the higher punchers, the heavy punchers, the Robinsons, the Tysons. Like those people that have a higher straight or hook, or you know what I'm saying? Like they had these unique punches that were better than other fighters.
That I'm thinking because I know it's gonna be a split down the middle almost. With I understand what you mean by normalized, but it's gonna be a lot of people like, yeah, he does stuff similar to um my the person that I'm playing, but it just don't feel like the person I'm playing.
Right, but if you're fighting online competitive, if you're fighting in a ranked match, then I mean there's going to be a boxer that's going to be so overpowered because that's how it was in certain eras. You know what I'm saying? And there might be a more like the people that are making the game might like Ali better than Tyson, and they make Ali
Yeah.
better, or they like Tyson and Ali, and they make those guys super overpowered like they did in round four. So, but if you
Yeah.
normalize them, it's based off of skill at that point, and it's based off of actually learning the fighter and his movements, rather than depending on the Mike Tyson hook or the Mike Tyson uppercut or the Ali keeping people jab in the straight, the 1-2. That's what I'm saying.
That I'm like on the fence with that because it's still gonna feel like that. I know how you explain it, but then when I get online, I'm be like, it's just even a couple of guys said it too. They said I want my fighter to fight like he fight defense, and he said weaknesses and strengths should come into play. If you don't block like a boxer in real life and you fighting a certain fighter, you're gonna get tagged and it's gonna send you to sleep, especially if he's a power puncher. Or it's like it takes the chess move part out of it.
I don't
Because
think I don't think so. I don't think so.
because if
It
you
makes it
if
more
you get
technical.
something that's not gonna really buzz you or make you feel like you gotta fight a certain way, you're not gonna fight a certain way.
Yeah, but you're
It's like
thinking
me when I was boxing. If I knew my opponent, if I felt that I wasn't going to get hurt, I'm going to try to walk right through him.
right, but you're thinking you're thinking I'm saying bringing the sliders down to zero. I'm not saying that. I'm saying
No,
normalize
you
them.
said 50 all the way down.
No, not even 50 all the way down. I'm just saying have a baseline, and that's where everybody's at. Where you can at any time, because boxing is boxing, you can get hurt at any time. If you're not guarding, you catch a solid hook on the button, you're going to get knocked out regardless of anybody's power. That's what I'm saying. It has to be. I'm not talking about just 50 down the line. I'm just saying it, it, you have to use tactics rather than at your tactics and your skill and knowing the boxer, because
Instead of brute strength.
instead of oh, I'm just going to pick what he caught because Tyson he has the hook and the uppercuts. Like, yeah, he has those, and if you hit them right, if you use those right on a normalized situation, if you use them right, then you're still going to get the knockout because that's part of Tyson. You understand what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be like you're just going to spam that punch because he has those punches. If you don't normalize it, because that's what happens a lot of times, because a lot of times those people just use those certain punches that fighter has that are kind of quote unquote overpowered. That's what I'm saying. Like it brings the actual chess match in it rather than just I'm gonna hit you with a hook because I'm Tyson and I'm gonna put you to sleep, or hit you with an uppercut and it's gonna drain your it's gonna rock you. Like that can happen regardless of where regardless if you have normalized or unnormalized, because like I was saying, it, even if that let's say you're fighting right in real life and you say, "Oh damn, this person doesn't have power," and you disrespect his power, but he catches you right in that right because there's a spot in your chin somewhere, right?
Yeah.
In boxing, so everybody has a spot, regardless if they have the power or not. They might just throw that one haymaker and put everything into it, even though you felt that they didn't have the power, and they catch you, and you get buzzed, and you're like, whoa, wait, whoa, or you get put out, and you're like, wait a minute, I was standing up, and now I'm not.
Yeah, like Paulie Malignaggi.
Right.
I can't see Paulie. He knocked out. What is his knockout percentage is very low, so
I think he had less
nobody's
than
gonna
I think he had
respect him.
less than 10. I think less
Yeah,
than 10 knockouts.
and nobody's gonna expect him to buzz like if you got a major fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Say, why is Paulie Malignaggi? Why did he buzz me? Why he may buzz you, but why did he knock me out?
Mm-hmm.
He got feather fist, and
Right.
that's gonna be the argument.
Right. But see, and if you know boxing, anybody, everybody has a puncher's chance. Everybody has a puncher's chance, and that's what the normalization is. Is everybody has a puncher's chance, even if you're a puncher. Now you have tendencies that play in line with that. You know what I'm saying? Like the movement, the head movement, all these other things. Not so much the power and the hand power. It's more playing along the lines of the technicalities of things: hand speed, foot speed, accuracy, blocking, head movement, your chin. Like those things are not going to be normalized, but your powers are a little bit more normalized, um, if not normalized all the way through, and it's all technical fighting at that point. Now, granted, I think there for online ranked matches, I think it should be normalized. If you're just playing online, why not have both sides and see what happens to
Yeah,
where you have a normalized section and then you have an unnormalized. But
that makes sense.
I can guarantee you there's going to be a lot more spamming, cheating, and what do you call it on the unnormalized, what do you call it?
But then it seems like we basing that mindset off of past games.
That's all you can do.
Yeah, but
I mean,
if we talking about implementing things that could take away people spamming certain things, then
then you would just implement
how
it.
you feel?
If you can't, there's because there's no way that can be done. The only way that can be done is if like I said, if you normalize it and that's all you do, and it's just strictly normalized. But then again, there might be exploits people can find, because the thing is that people are forgetting the game is programmed, and when we program these things, we're programming a certain way, right?
Yeah,
And when a human is programming something, it's still fallible because we're not perfect. So there's still going to be flaws in that programming. Normalization is a way to help get get away from that spamming and those ways of cheating. I feel, because you're not depending on the special attributes of said fighter. Now, if you want to use those attributes or whatever, Tyson's hooks and Tyson's uppercuts, Tyson's this and that and this, or James Toney's or whatever, do it unnormalized. But it's not going to be a ranked match, because how many fighters did Paulie Malignaggi beat that should have beat him? If you're just going based off of record, or based off of their past fights, that the opponent's past fights. Now, granted, Paulo Malignaggi, every time he fought a fighter that was a high caliber, he didn't win.
yeah.
But I'm saying, like, he nobody should have, like, people should have been running through Paulo Malignaggi, and they didn't,
That's true.
and they didn't.
Cause of skills.
Right. Because no matter what you argue about Paulie, he might have not had the power, but he had enough power to to that people respected it.
Yeah, to keep you from knocking them out.
And that's with any boxer that goes in the ring that is either a prospect or higher. So, well, I mean, I think almost any fighter, you're gonna have some kind of respect there. I'm not saying get rid of power all the way, but I'm just saying, there should be that poly. We'll deem it the poly Malignaggi respect. But I'm saying like they should have that. It should be because you're respecting him as a fighter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Like because if you I mean, now let's say if you pick a Amir Khan versus anybody, but Amir Khan ain't got no chin. So
Yeah,
normalized or not, that chin is not normalized. Do you see what I'm saying? Like those things are not going to be normalized, but the powers should be. And like because the different powers and fight and different types of punches is the deciding factor in the way fight night is right now. And for the most part, if you look at some of these videos, they're not using all these other fighters. There's like a handful, maybe five, maybe six fighters that they use, and that's it.
yeah.
Why is that?
So they can spam them,
Hmm.
for the benefits.
Right. And that's what I mean. That's my thing about
Well, I
normalization.
think when it comes to spamming and stuff, it's like even this is a discussion I had at EA that there's no damage. That this was the first when they first displayed Mike Tyson. I said boxing does when y'all make boxing video games, there's no fear that something can happen to you. There's no it'll make you stop doing certain things like spamming punches or something. If you're fighting a good quality fighter, there's a way that he might tag you, or if
Right.
he outbox. The only way you should be trying to, what I call spamming. If a person like kind of like you got Ali, Ali's a tall fighter. You're
Hmm.
going to try to spam or throw punches to get him. If you're not effective, with certain things, and if the things set up right, like you go with your hands up and the punches don't count, you know, then the defense and all that adds up to certain things,
Right. But
coming into play.
see, Ali's a tall fighter, and yeah, he's going to be spamming the jab and the straight to keep you off of him, because that's the way to beat Ali is to get up inside
Yeah,
and take it to him. That's the way to beat that type of boxer, right? Because they want to same thing with Klitschko. With the Klitschko's, they want to keep you at a distance. And as soon as you like just think about how Hopkins used to be. Every time somebody got in a certain area, he grabbed him. Threw a punch and
yeah,
grabbed him.
clinched up. Yeah,
That's how Hopkins like he'll throw a couple punches and grab you, smother you. That's how Hopkins did. And
especially if you have some type of power
right,
that could like hurt them.
right. But if you make it more technical rather than I gotta look out for his punch. If you make it technical where you're not you're not really like, okay, yeah, he can put me out with this punch or that punch or whatever. But if I'm tactical with it, so can I. To where it's chest and chest and not I'm gonna throw a punch and knock you out. Because I think there was a fight, LX, and I think somebody it might have been LX and somebody else where it was like a one punch, somebody talking madness or something. It was like a he ended up like saying he was gonna pick one guy and then he switched it at the end and you try to do that stuff like they used to do. Like they'll say, "Oh, I'm gonna pick this guy," and then right at the end, right when you pick your guy, they'll switch it, and then they'll flip to another guy, like a
Oh
Sugar Ray.
yeah,
They used to do that
they
all the
do that
time.
in Fight Night Round Three.
Yeah, yeah. So so I mean, those things will stop that because if you switch to a Sugar Ray at the end, you know Sugar Ray got all these. He was like the goat, almost the goat on the game. You know that's why it will stop some of those things from happening too. I feel.
So his speed, his hand speed and stuff, that got to be normalized too.
To a point. To a point. To a point. I mean, it's not to where it negates it, but I mean, he's going to be faster than some fighters are faster than others. That's a given, and
Okay.
those things should be looked at. I'm saying it should be normalized to a point to where yeah, speed is going to play a difference, but power is not so much. Some people might not like that, but for the competitive wise, I think it'll be a lot better because it's skill versus skill and not just somebody getting lucky. Because or not just not getting lucky, but somebody getting the better of you because they have they because I remember in one of the fight nights they people used to just load all their points into the straight. They used to make a straight the 100 punch, and they used to be just pop people with the straight, and it'll like kill everybody's energy.
Yeah.
That's my thing. That's the way I see it. Because I mean,
So you don't think stamina and fatigue should play a part in the boxing game at all, like limb fatigue and stuff like that?
because I see that it's in here, and the agility, lungs, and all that stuff. Uh, Offline, yeah. It
You
should
don't
be.
think it'll fit in the online?
It can fit on online, but um, I think that's based off of boxers. I think that should be based on the boxer itself. I don't think it should. I don't think everybody should have great no that great stamina because some boxers don't have the stamina, and that goes into tendencies. That goes into like the hardcore tendencies of fighters because if you take for the most part, if you take a Tyson out of past six or seven rounds, what's going to happen?
Yeah, that's true. But Tyson, he did go 12 rounds with like 2 or 3 times, right?
Yeah, but it was rare. It was rare.
Yeah, very rare.
He was getting everybody out of there in the beginning. And as a
Yeah,
boxer, if you're doing that, you're not at some point you're going to go, man, I'm not going to train for 12 rounds because you're like I'm running through all these people. It's going to get somebody's going to say that in your head. Yo, you're wasting time doing this, doing that. And then you're going to start doing this. And then you're going to start like who's a there's other boxers that were like that because if you just waited well look at not saying that he was like this all the time, but look at Jermaine Taylor in the later stages of his career. He gassed
yeah, it's
out.
been like, yeah, like he didn't really train.
Yeah, he like look at the Carl Froch fight. Look at the Abraham fight. In both
Yeah, he
fights,
like burned out. He was like gonna fall out on his feet throwing punches.
in both fights, and even I think even in the Pavlik fight too. In both fights, well, in just the Carl Froch and Arthur Abraham fight, both of those fights, 12 round knockouts. He was done, and I'm like, he was like, in both fights, I think he pretty much slumped over. I mean, he did get knocked out in those fights,
Yeah,
but he only got knocked out because he was tired.
Yeah,
He didn't get knocked out because of a, because that person had power or whatever. Not saying that they didn't have power, but he got knocked out because he was tired. That's the only reason, because he was winning those fights. I At both of those fights I think he was winning.
yeah, it
If I
was.
remember correctly. I know the Carl Froch, he just had all he had to do was hold and he would have won.
Yup, yup,
And what happened? Bam, knocked out. And it wasn't knocked out. It was knocked out because he was tired. Because he was running away and he wasn't grabbing. And he should have been grabbing and holding on and just smothering him. And he would have won the fight. He would have won the belt. That's all I'm saying about the like normalization and all that. Like yeah, it should be an effect. Like they should look at, and this is goes back to what you were saying. They should have people that know the boxers and looking at the boxers and say, okay, well this guy had stamina. Okay, he can go 12 rounds. This guy can't. Like they need to get somebody that does stats, that knows the styles, and they can quantify it in stats,
yeah,
and to where it they play these things in the online mode, um to where it makes it technical. Some people might not like the whole normalization thing, but there's a way around that where you could do a unranked, unnormalized, and they can have different modes too. They can have a unranked normalized, um, a ranked normalized, um, unranked unnormalized, and a ranked unnormalized. They can have four different modes on online. They can have multiple modes
yeah,
online just to suffice everybody. And you know what I'm saying? Like there can be when they do tournaments and stuff, there can be champions in each one. And then if you
yeah. I
want it,
agree.
and then if you wanted to crown the champion of all, then the unranked or the unnormalized guy can fight the normalized guy, and they can fight in like a best two out of three type of situation or something like that. You know what I'm saying? To where they fight two fights in normalized and two fights in unnormalized, and they base it off of that, the record off of that, and there's your champion.
Yeah, that
Just an idea.
sounds like a good idea.
Just an idea.
Yeah,
So,
the fans, if they have ideas they can add on to, put them in the comments.
hmm
Let us know what's your ideas or how you feel about this whole topic right here,
yeah,
this little
especially
section.
with the whole, because there's everybody. That's a big hot button for everybody is the online stuff and the spammers and the cheaters and this
Yeah,
and that. And how do you fix that? And that's a key thing. That's what makes a game uh long, like, because that can kill a game for people.
yeah, yeah. The conversation has to be talked about, and just talk about it so companies can understand how you think things can be put in place that'll make it more fun for you and everyone else.
Right. Negative or not, man. Negative,
Yeah,
negative, because in every negative there's still some positive, I feel.
oh
Even
yeah, exactly.
even if a comic can be looked at as negative, like they have to look at that because if everybody agrees with them throughout everything, they're just gonna make whatever.
Yeah,
They'll just put whatever. Like, oh, look, you guys didn't tell us anything. And that's why this is important too, man. That's why this
yeah,
this right here is very important, because without this, like, we're just gonna get uh what we're gonna get. And it's either you, if it's up to you if you buy it or not. I'd rather not. If I'm just gonna
yep.
if somebody says here, eat. Like shit, I might want sushi that day. Do you wanna? I mean, we'll call it right there. It's been I think 2 hours now.
All right, yeah,
We'll pick
that's
up
basically it.
on tendencies there on the next one. That will be on Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Um, they said we might be a little late. On the next show, I'll go ahead and post it so you guys can know ahead of time and set reminders. Um, I'll post the next show actually today. I'll post it up there so there's a reminder that you can set. Um, I got nothing else, man. I just have the conversations. Links for uh, Twitch. I haven't been on there. I've been having a lot going on. I will be getting back on Twitch, playing some games. Twitch will be in there. Link for description for that. And when I go live, I'll be posting on Instagram. Instagram will be up there. Um, and links for everybody's social media. Post social media in there will be in there. The boxing sim, Twitter, Instagram, and the boxing wishlist Discord will be in there. And if you guys don't have Discord already, make sure you get it. It can be on your phone. It does. You don't if you don't have a computer. You can be on a tablet also. So download Discord. Um, Join the boxing wish list Discord and start talking about these things to where messages can get pushed up to everybody to where we get a boxing game where we want. Poe, you got anything else, man?
Now just share this wish list and share this video to all the companies you want. Round for round, just let people know that you want a boxing game. Let them know you're interested and you're being a part of the process. Make yourself a part of the process. And just support us so we can support what you want.
Yeah, definitely,
That's it.
definitely.
That's basically it. And you know, look at the fights. Let look at the fights, and we could talk about the fights Sunday. Hopefully y'all come and we just discuss the fight and stuff, the results and everything, and talk more about the wish list. And that's all I have to say.
All right. With that said, everybody who is watching and who is watching in the future, thanks for coming out and um, like, comment, subscribe, share. Let's get this pushed out to everybody, as Poe said. No matter what team it is, no matter what game, whoever's making it, um, we just need a actual true boxing game that we can all stand by and play together. So you guys have a good one. Until next Sunday, um,
Peace.
we out.